Hello everyone. So this video is going to be about homophobia and its effects. Homophobia is still a scourge in the modern era. Despite a greater acceptance of sexual variations in same-sex marriage in many countries, homophobia is widely sustained by religious, political, and cultural values and beliefs at individual and social level. Most of the homophobic attitudes are based on the principle of heteronormativity, according to which heterosexuality is the standard for legitimating social and sexual relationships, and homosexuality is considered as an abnormal variant. Homophobia may be also recognized at institutional level, which is the state-sponsored homophobia and social homophobia, and supported by laws or religious beliefs. Internalized homophobia is defined as the inward direction of societal homophobic behaviors at individual level and refers to the subjective psychological impact of those negative attitudes. In fact, internalized homophobia is significantly associated with the high prevalence of internalizing mental disorders such as depression, anxiety, stress, trauma-related disorders, etc. It is believed that a set of immediate actions are needed in order to contrast homophobia and its impact on mental health, in particular political initiatives, educational trainings, and scientific research that should be promoted with a specific focus on mental health needs of people targeted by homophobia. Many factors may lead to homophobia: prejudice, ignorance, fear, hate, mistrust, discomfort, and so much more. Undoubtedly, homophobia relies on religious, political, and cultural values and beliefs, as well as generally negative attitudes towards homosexuality, are inspired by the concept of heteronormativity. Heteronormativity is a principle according to which heterosexuality is the standard for legitimizing social and sexual relationships, whereas homosexuality as a variant and may be seen as abnormal. Homophobia may be named as lesbophobia, directed at lesbians, biphobia, against bisexuals, transphobia, against trans and non-binary people, intolerance against any diversity, sexual variations, race, political, and religious minorities, etc., may be individual or affecting the community or institutions. It has been proposed that an individual level, homophobia, as well as other aversions against minority, may be linked to a psychopathological construct such as the intolerant personality disorder with the following characteristics. A rigid set of beliefs and values based on the superiority of race or religion, culture, sexual orientation, etc. B. Lack of empathy. C. Antagonism and hostility against a specific targeted population. D. Aversion and effects to block, contrast, impede people considered to be inferior. E. Use of power to contrast the intolerable people or ideas. F. A sense of entitlement based on the sense of being part of a superior group. G. Disregard for human rights. And H. Lack of remorse. At societal level, many categories and definitions of homophobia have been proposed, as institutionalized homophobia, state-sponsored homophobia, social homophobia, and internalized homophobia. Institutionalized homophobia is where institutions may be strongly based or oriented on specific cultural, religious, as well as prevalent ideologies. All these factors may consequently affect social attitudes towards minorities or part of populations. Religions in the world may show a variable approach to the theme of sexual variations with a range of degrees of acceptance. Catholic religion has modulated teachings and positions towards homosexuality over time. An implicit condemn of same-sex attractions might be forced or found in the Old and New Testaments of the Bible. Leviticus 18:22, the story of the judgment of God, Sodom and Gomorrah, King 1976. The Catechism of Catholic Church also disapproved homosexuality and same-sex acts, stating that they may be considered as contrary to natural law. The Vatican, 2020. Pope Francis, after his election in 2013, opened to homosexuality and stated that Catholic Church should love people regardless of their sexual orientation. In 2019, he specified that homosexual orientations are not considered a sin by the Catholic teaching, even if homosexual acts are a sin. Later in 2020, in a documentary named Francesco, he stated that homosexuals have the right to be part of the family and are God's children. He also opened to civil unions among same-sex lovers. Homosexuality is forbidden by Islam and is considered a crime under Sharia law. In Afghanistan, same-sex acts are punished with the death penalty under the Taliban, as well as gay people have been persecuted by Islamist forces in Iraq and Syria. The International Lesbian and Gay Association, ILGA, reported that about 80 countries around the world continue to consider homosexuality as illegal. Penalization as well as criminalization of homosexuality in these countries, including also persecution of LGBTQ+, is also considered state-sponsored homophobia. Many examples of state-sponsored discrimination may be described in the history: the medieval Inquisition, the Republic of China under the Qing Dynasty, Soviet Union under Lenin, Nazi Germany, North Korea, Zimbabwe, etc. In communities based on homophobia, the fear of being identified as gay is higher and may be recognized as a social homophobia. This may lead to an exhibition of heterosexual behaviors congruent with the heteronormative culture, with a distancing from gay people in order to reaffirm a conventional social role and gain social validation. Internalized homophobia may be defined as the inward direction of societal homophobic attitudes at individual level. It is a psychological construct including the internalization of negative attitudes conflicting with the self-regard and leading to a self-degradation or identification with the heterosexual belief as theorized by Allport in 1954. My cat has now decided to be an asshole. Let's see, where was I? Oh. This process may cause discomfort with the own sexual orientation, seen as ego dystonic. Oh, yeah. Which is personal desires and attractions are seen odds with the individual self-image and may cause extreme stress, repression, and disorders. Internalized homophobia may lead to repression of the own desires, internalizing mental health problems, clinical depression, and a higher risk of suicide. Homophobia and mental health. The impact of homophobia on mental health is understated and undetected in clinical settings, as well as poorly described in literature. In 2010, a meta-analytic review of literature conducted on the relationship between internalized homophobia and mental health among LGBTQ+ concluded that internalized homophobia is significantly associated with internalizing mental disorders such as depression, anxiety, stress, trauma, obsessive-compulsive disorder, eating, and dissociative disorders. We must also include the homophobic experience into the framework of minority stress. Minority stress derives from the conflict between being a minority and dominant social and cultural values and may be based on homophobic experience, harassment and maltreatment, discrimination, and victimization, all affecting individuals' physical and mental health outcomes. Internalized homophobia also affects the quality of life and life satisfaction. Many studies have shown that there is a higher risk of suicide among sexual minorities, and that is in relation to homophobia and microaggressions. Alongside the impact of homophobia on mental health, it is to note that high homophobic and discriminatory attitudes have been found among healthcare professionals with potential negative effects on the quality of care and therapeutic relationship towards LGBTQ+ patients. So what can be done? There is a set of immediate actions that are needed in order to fight homophobia and reduce the impact of social pressure on LGBTQ+'s mental health. A synergy between governments, LGBTQ rights organizations, mental health associations, in order to promote campaigns against homophobia and raise awareness on the impact of discrimination and non-acceptance on mental health. Educational trainings on homophobia for secondary schools and universities. Specific courses on health and mental health of LGBTQ+ and related issues among healthcare professionals to be added in their core curriculum. Promotion of the detection and measurement of homophobia in the clinical setting, including mental health services. That goes in with some of the stuff that I recently posted on my community tab, the GMSR and stuff like that, the questionnaires that is used for gender dysphoria and to rate the amount of homophobia or transphobia that somebody is dealing with in their personal lives and stuff. There needs to be more in-depth studies and stuff on those things. Training on specific instruments of measurement such as short internalized homonegativity scale, Nungesner homosexual attitudes instrument, internalized homonegativity inventory, and development of more specific tools, such as the questionnaires that I posted on the community tab. Promotion of more research on LGBTQ's mental health and their unmet health needs. Societal awareness for general public is a must. It is important to attend peaceful rallies and protests, make posters, create music and movies that stand against discrimination and homo-trans biphobia. Real-life stories need to be heard and acknowledged. Speak up, speak out, and stand against homophobia and microaggressions. The next video that I will be doing is going to cover the microaggressions associated to the LGBTQIA+ community. Have a great day, everyone.